Hey everybody, I'm Julie Foucht, your kick-ass biz coach, and I want to welcome you to our Google Hangout today. I'm super, yeah, and that's a good start. So let's all just take a deep breath. I know it's probably been a busy morning for a lot of you, and just take a breath and let go of anything that would keep you from being present today. Let go of everything running through your head, everything you have to do afterwards, and just get really here with us, because I'm going to deliver for you, with the help of my lovely expert team, some really fun information that you can apply right away to your business. So if you're wondering if you should be on this hangout with us today, I'm going to give you some clues. If you have a passion for your business and you're hungry to make an impact in the world today, you're in the right place. If you want to deepen your relationship with your current clients and you want to create new relationships with new clients, then you're in the right place. If you want more love-based sales, everybody raise your hand. You want more love-based sales? Yeah. Then you're in the right place. And if you've decided to do whatever it takes, legally, morally, and ethically, to create a six-figure plus income and a business that feeds your soul and serves the world, then you're in the right place. So I'm going to share some tools with you today that I've used to build my business. And for some of you, that's going to be enough. But others will want to go deeper. So hang on till the very end, because I'm going to give you a way that you can go deeper, and at the end of the call, I'll tell you how to get some tip sheets to apply this information right away to your business. I want to tell you a little bit about me to get started. I'm Julie Foucht. I'm your kick-ass biz coach. I empower women to build totally awesome, passion-driven, money-making businesses. I also am a grandma, and yesterday, one of my guests, Rachel, will tell you, we were setting this up with one of them attached to the front of me and the other one sitting on the front of my lap. So it was really fun to do it with an 8-week-old and a 2-month-old or a 2-year-old sitting on my lap, setting this up. So whatever your business challenges are, you can do it. Years and years ago, I worked with a network marketing company, and I'd make sales and I'd make phone calls, and sometimes those people just really connected. You know, I had this connection with them immediately. I knew what they were talking about. And other people, I just would walk away from the call saying, what the heck? I don't understand that person. They don't get me. So I want to give you some cool tools today so that when you walk away from every call, you found a way to connect with even those people speaking a foreign language. Does that sound good to everybody? Nod.
Yeah.
What happens is you'll be able to start putting together teams that really function well and have all the components you need. You'll work out teams that seriously, everybody works to their strengths, and you'll find people on your team that work to your weaknesses so that you can just concentrate on what you do best. It'll make you a lot more effective. It'll also help you know what kind of information your prospective clients need from you in order to make the right decision about whether or not to work with you. You know, some people need different kinds of information, so you're going to get that. And finally, this will help you to work with your clients. For me, knowing where my clients fit helps me to help them create strategies that really, really fit for them and play to their strengths. Because if you're out there building a business from your weaknesses, it's going to be really, really tough. So I want to introduce my experts to you today. And before we do that, I'm going to give you a little assignment, because you already get to go to work. As each expert introduces themselves, I want you to pay full attention. Get out your pen and paper so you can take a few notes. Just whatever you notice. They're going to give really brief introductions of themselves, and I want you to take notes about how you feel about them, who you feel connected to more than other people. And it's not a right or wrong. It's simply to start noticing. So experts, if you just tell us your name, your business, and your mission, and we'll start right down here with Ariana.
Well, good morning, everyone. I am Ariana Lisa Newcomer of ReclaimYourAuthenticVoice.com. I teach women entrepreneurs and coaches how to claim their value and speak powerfully and confidently from their authentic selves for dramatically successful public speaking.
Awesome. Thank you. Linda. Linda, can you hear us?
Seems to be. Is that better? Can you
There
hear me?
you are.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. My name is Linda Sturdivant, and my business is Annihilate Your Phone Phobia. I help people overcome their fear of the phone so that they can connect with their customers and identify and for their product and service, and then make their offer in a very comfortable way.
Very cool. Lynn, you're up.
Great. Hi, I'm Lynn, and my business is Tech Rescue with Lynn, and I help people deal with their fear of their technology and make it safe and simple for them.
Very cool. Rachel, and for those of you who don't know her, Rachel is actually putting together the back end of this whole thing for us, so we love Rachel. Rachel, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, my name is Rachel Carl, and my company is Suite 4, and I help conscious entrepreneurs to get your message out to the world in a big way. So essentially, I boost your signal.
Very cool. And the lovely Wendy.
Hi. Good morning, everybody. I am a Soul Fuel business coach. I empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs in the making to profit from their passion and make a real difference in the world. And I'm thrilled to be here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. And for those of you watching, what you probably saw was some differences just from the brief introductions. The very first step is start to notice those things, and you can kind of watch down below what people are doing, and you can see the attitudes when they're talking, and Wendy's smiling at us again. So pay attention to what you hear, but also pay attention to how people move and what their body looks like, because those are some clues that will tune you in to what their behavior style is. So we're going to get started identifying that, because about 25% of the population is like you, which means 75% of the population is not like you. And that 75% is a huge chunk that you want to be able to connect with to make sales. You don't want to just be making sales to 25%. That 75%, they think differently than you do. They decide differently than you do. They use their time differently. They work at a different pace. They communicate differently. They handle emotions differently. They manage stress differently. And they deal with conflicting opinions differently. So if you go into a sales conversation with someone and you expect them to respond like you do, you're totally missing the boat. Experts, who remembers what Mom taught them about how to treat other people? Remember the golden rule?
Oh, yeah. Treat others the way you want to be treated.
Yes.
Right. Treat others the way you want to be treated. And I'm here to tell you that your mom may be a very, very sweet person, but she was completely wrong there. So really what you want to do is you want to treat other people the way they want to be treated, not the way you want to be treated. And so scientists tell us that there's basically a couple of different clusters that you can put people into very simply, and you can begin to speak their language. And I'm going to have everybody at home do this. So go ahead and get out your piece of paper and draw a line. I will show you my line from top to bottom of your page. And this is going to identify your first set of clusters. At the very top, you're going to put a plus. We're going old school, and I'm doing this with you. At the bottom, you'll put a minus. And now you want to look at how assertive other people think you are. And this is not how you think you are. I know you all stand up for yourselves and for the things that are important to you, but it's how do you appear to the outside world. I'm going to read you the definition just so you get it straight. This is the degree to which one's behaviors are seen by others as being forceful or directive. So do other people see you as being out there and forceful, or do they see you leaning back a little bit, maybe waiting at the back of the room? The more forceful you are, the higher you're going to go on the line. The less forceful, the lower you're going to go on the line. Now, once you've decided where you are, draw a line from side to side across your page. Okay? Put your plus mark on this side of the page and your minus on this side of the page, and this is your second set of behaviors. This is how others see you as showing your emotions or being aware. So it's seen by others as showing your own emotions or demonstrating awareness of the feelings of others. Do you wear your emotions on your sleeve, or do you keep them tight to your chest? And this is how other people see you. I know you all have emotions. You all love what you do, and you love the people around you. But how do you express that? Is it more inwardly or outwardly? Again, positive to negative. And now we're going to go through a little exercise, and you're going to figure out where each of the experts are. And we're going to see if I guessed right when I invited them on this call. So it'll be really fun. Just for a minute, think about what you saw when they introduced yourselves, and make a little note which one you think is most like you. Now, which one you think is the least like you, and we're going to see if that's true. I'm going to ask each of the questions, or each of the experts, the same questions so you guys can get an idea how it works. And I'm going to start with Lynn, because I know Lynn's behavior style. So we're going to pop Lynn up there, and Lynn, we're going to put you on the spot and make you think fast, which, by the way, is probably her least favorite thing to do in the world. We could do this with Wendy, and she'd be popping answers out like that, but we're going to start with Lynn. By the way, there are certain people on this call who are sitting there going, why didn't I get to go first?
Why am I first?
And Lynn doesn't want to go first, so that's why she gets to go first. So Lynn, can you give us just 2 words that other people use to describe you?
Funny and truth-telling.
Great. And now, what's the most important thing about any project you're working on?
That my heart is in it.
When you complete that project, what's the most important thing about getting it complete?
Is feeling that it's complete and celebrating that celebrating the accomplishment of it being complete.
Right. Like how I told her she was right about that when it was her thing. And if you were to design a bumper sticker for your quarter of the population, what would your bumper sticker say?
If it's broke, don't fix it.
If it's broken, don't fix it. Very good. All right.
Either that, or who dies with the most toys wins.
Or yes, she collects lots of toys. And tell us about your toys, Lynn. What kind of toys do you like?
I'm an electronics engineer, so if they have bells and whistles and lights and buttons, I'm happy.
Bells, whistles, lights, buttons. Love it.
Yep.
Anything else?
I like to figure out how it works.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So some people identify with Lynn a lot. Any of my experts identify with Lynn a lot? Likes bells and whistles.
I like bells and whistles.
Depends on what kind of bells and whistles.
Wendy, what kind of bells and whistles do you like?
Fun bells and whistles.
Yes, Wendy is about fun. And Wendy, what 2 words do people use to describe you?
I think what I hear most often is inspirational and smart.
Mm-hmm. And let me put you in the right square. Tell me, what's most important to you about a project? When you're working on a project, what's the most important thing?
Can I give you 2?
You can give me 2.
Okay. Well, number 1 is to make sure it aligns with who I really am in my heart, and also that it'll make a difference in someone else's life.
So Wendy's personality style will never give you one answer when you ask for it. And this is so true. They're always like, wait, I want to give 2 answers. Can I do more? And what would your bumper sticker be?
Oh, wow. That's tough because you only have, what, 3 words or 4 or something like that? Free yourself.
Free yourself. And that's really, again, aligned with Wendy's mission. So very cool. All right, let's go down to Linda. You there, Linda?
Okay.
There you are.
Yep, I'm here.
2 words people use to describe you.
Warm and welcoming.
Perfect. And tell us what's important in any project.
In any project, it's important to include others and make sure people feel comfortable.
You are so typical of your personality style. What's your bumper sticker? Linda?
I think my bumper sticker include everybody.
Perfect. Ariana, you're up.
Hey.
2 words other people use to describe you.
Nurturing and powerful.
And when you're working on a project, what's the most important thing to keep in mind?
I really have to remember to allow myself to take imperfect action because I'm a perfectionist. And I can work on something and never get it done because it's never perfect. So take imperfect action is my motto.
What's your bumper sticker?
A world that works for everyone.
Cool. And Ariana kind of straddles the line between 2 behavior styles. So there's one that I think she's more comfortable in. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But there's another one that she floats into really easily. And that happens with everybody. We kind of float around. Okay, Miss Rachel, you are up.
Okay.
So 2 words that others would use to describe you.
The most common things that people say to me are, you are so authentic and you really help keep things simple.
Yeah, keep things simple. And you take care of all the details so we don't have to.
Yeah.
Perfect. I really love that. And that's because my behavior style, and I'll tell you guys about me in a minute, I totally don't do details. Love people who will do details. What's the most important thing about a project that you're working on?
I have to remind myself to focus. So to stay focused is really important for me because I get distracted. I've got a lot going on, and with all those details that I have to take care of. So.
All the details. Yeah. And what would your bumper sticker be?
Don't be mean.
Don't be mean.
I don't like mean people. So, and I always get surprised, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that person was so mean. So don't be mean.
That's really sad. I'm sorry. And the reason that Rachel gets shocked by mean people is because she's so focused on taking care of the details that she misses the signs that maybe something's going on with somebody and they're going to come in with a hit for her. And that's because Rachel is what we call an analytical, as is Lynn. Lynn, raise your hand. Hi, hi. Let me tell you about analyticals. They are very much about details and data. Yes?
Yes.
These are the people you want managing your details. You want them in charge of your Google Hangouts. You want them to make sure all your emails went out. They also like things to be really neat and accurate. And so this is where Ariana straddles the line because she wants everything perfect. She wants it to be accurate. It's got to be right on. And so for her, sometimes she has to take imperfect action because the quest for accuracy can get in the way of actually getting the job done. They really appreciate organization, and they really appreciate neatness. If you are working with an analytical, give them an agenda with a timeline. So if you're putting together an event, you want to have an agenda with a timeline, or a meeting, give them an agenda with a timeline. You want to give them lots of lead time to study the information. So it probably drove you guys crazy that I didn't give you very much information before this call. Be prepared to talk about yourselves. And the analyticals were like, I'd really like to read a packet of information first.
At least have an outline.
At least an outline and a timeline. But if I had done that, they would have gone out and researched more information and come back with a whole bunch of stuff they didn't need to have in their heads.
It's funny that you say that because I was taking notes while you were asking everyone else's questions, and I was thinking, okay, what am I going to say? What are my answers going to be?
Being prepared is important.
And I'm way better with spontaneity and being put on the spot and not being as prepared. Actually, the more prepared I feel like I don't do as well.
Yeah, and Wendy will always be the first one to jump up in front of a room and say, yes, me, I'll try it. Much better with spontaneity. And it's important when you're talking to people to know which one they are so that you can give them what they need. Wendy's going to need more space, whereas Rachel and Ariana and Lynn are going to need you to give them more parameters. I had a conversation on Monday with my new business manager where she was telling me, I need more data, I need more lead time, you go too fast. And I actually hired her because she is the opposite of me, but we have to get used to each other's styles, and I need to make sure I'm giving her the things she needs to be effective because she can't do it as quickly as I can. She also won't miss the details that I will miss because I'm really good at skipping over things. They also, when an analytical walks into a room, say they walk into a party, what they're going to notice is if you've got enough napkins for the amount of people that are there. They're going to notice if the tablecloths match. They're going to notice if people have enough chairs, and the whole room set up. Analyticals. Yes?
No, I didn't do that. Not at all.
Yeah. Never. They notice the little details. I love my analyticals. They're not going to pay much attention to how people feel because for them, if the details are right, of course people are going to be happy. So they're not going to have the feelings. Yep, Lynn's nodding.
We're not. That's it. Not true for me.
Totally it. And their downfall is they always need more information. Give me more, give me more, give me more. If you are trying to make a sale to an analytical, this is how you do it. You say, Lynn, or Rachel, or Ariana, tell me what you need to know in order to make a decision. And you don't leave it wide open. You don't say, okay, I'll check back with you in 3 days. You say, tell me exactly what information you need. That limits them in what they think about, in what they're going to think about. So what information do you need? And then you say, and I will follow up with you by 2 o'clock tomorrow, at 2 o'clock tomorrow. And you give them definite deadlines. They like definite deadlines. Otherwise, they're going to spend the next 3 weeks poring over information, and every time they come back to you, they're going to say, okay, so I found out that your program has been rated by the Better Business Bureau. Where else have you been rated? I found out this. So you're going to say, yes, and here's the information you needed to make a decision, and this is the deadline. So you hold them to deadlines. Okay, guys, got that?
Got it.
You want to put them in charge of your processes. Okay?
Is that Julie? Would that be most bookkeepers and accountants are analyticals?
Yes. Oh my gosh. The CPA my husband used, I refused to go to pick up the taxes because it would take an hour of him going through the taxes, explaining the tax code and why he wrote certain numbers and certain. I don't care.
Yeah.
So yes, your bookkeepers, your business managers, anybody who's putting together data for you, very valuable to have on your team. And you want to treat them with plenty of space. Okay, I'll tell you in a minute. Oh, somebody has a phone ringing in the background. Okay, Linda. And this is where Ariana floats on this side. Linda's a supporter. She's quiet. You guys see how quiet she is?
Can you hear me? I'm here.
She's still here. And she's listening to everything. And she's taking it in. And she's noticing how everybody feels on the panel. You're watching everybody's faces, aren't you?
I am. I'm flipping through all the pictures.
And she's seeing how everybody fits in this whole thing. And Ariana floats on this side as well. She comes back over into this supporter mode. At a party, these are the people that are going to be in the kitchen making sure that everyone has enough to eat, right? In a meeting, they're all about consensus. So you want to have them in a meeting because they're going to be checking the room. When those of us who are supporter or who are other things are driving the meeting forward, they're going to be making sure everybody, they're going to be watching everybody, making sure everybody feels good. They're going to stop you if somebody's not feeling good and say, hey, George over there seems to have a problem. And they're going to stand up for other people. Yes?
Yes.
Yep, absolutely.
That's their job. They love affection. So these are the first people to give you a hug when you walk in the room. They really, really appreciate being appreciated. I love you guys for being here. Thank you. If feelings are getting stepped on, they're going to jump to the front. And because they're used to being back of the room people, sometimes it doesn't look quite so pretty. That's because you float.
I am not a back of the room person. I'm in the front row.
That's because you float.
You know, I'm not a back of the room person either.
Okay, good. What are you guys looking for when you're in the front of the room?
Well, I want to learn as much as I possibly can, so that's why I'm in the front of the room. But if I walk into a party, the first thing I notice is people standing off by themselves, and I want to go gather everybody in and make everybody feel comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly where you are.
And that's what I do when I'm speaking, too. If I'm in front of the room speaking, I find people out there who don't seem to be engaged, and I focus on them, and I get them engaged. And I love that about speaking, because I can kind of gather everybody together and keep everybody engaged and happy. And, yeah, I love that.
And feeling loved. You guys make people feel loved just by being in the room. And I love that about you. These are the most loyal people in the world until they are not.
Watch out.
You can never win back a supporter once you've lost them, but they will stand by your side and fight till the death until they feel like you're not being loyal to them. And then they're done with you. You're just out. My dear husband is a supporter. I love it. I love having a supporter. But I'm really careful to always be on his side. That's important to him. They are super great friends. You love having your supporters. They don't like deadlines. They don't like pressure. They'll do almost anything to avoid a confrontation. They really hate confrontation. Mm-hmm. And so when you're making a sale to them or when you're dealing with them in your business, you don't want to be confronting them. You don't want to be giving them, the hard line. They respond to the carrot, not the stick. They're very much carrot people. So reward them a lot. They hate fighting. Yes?
Yeah.
Yep.
If you walk into their home, you'll see pictures of their family everywhere because they're all about people and they love working in teams. So if you want to sell to a supporter, you tell them how your service or your products will affect the people that they're serving and will help people feel great. So my coaching practice will help you to really relate to your clients in a way that makes them feel loved and supported. And it will help you or empower you to create relationships that support your clients' goals. See how I did that, supporters? Do you love that?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So make these people your ambassadors on your teams. Have them at your check-in tables. Have them make your welcoming calls. They're really, really super good at that. They can design your people processes, especially you analyticals. Have them design your people processes because they're all about people and you're all about data. Okay, the drivers. Now, Wendy floats into the driver category a lot. I float into the driver category. Although it's not our primary, we float there a lot. Drivers are bottom line people. They don't care about the details. They don't even understand why you would tell them how people feel. They are all about get the job done. Just come back to me with the job done. You ever feel that way, Wendy?
Well, it's interesting because when you first said or put that name on me, I actually have never been called a driver. So I think, okay, so there's a distinction between maybe how we manage our team and our business and how we work with clients, right?
And we all float, and the names don't mean anything other than just a way to identify. And so this is your secondary. It's not your primary.
Yeah.
But I've watched Wendy work. She is very much about get the job done.
Yeah.
My daughter is a lawyer, and as I was telling my daughter about this, she looked at me like, why would you do it any other way?
Yeah.
The bumper sticker of the drivers is the Nike slogan, just do it.
When it comes to my business and the way I challenge myself and the projects I'm doing with my team, the people that work for me, I would say I don't need to hear about how it's being done. I just want it done.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need to know how the web page is going up or anything.
And you probably don't care, it probably doesn't occur to you how the web designer's kids are doing that day or what his emotions are. You just want him to get the job done. Unless it comes down and it feels to you.
Because my virtual assistant and I are very close, and I know everything that's going on in terms of her family and her children, and I care deeply about that. So.
And I'm not saying drivers don't care, so all you drivers out there, don't get me wrong, they really, really care. It's just when you're working on a project, it's not the first thing to pop into your mind. The first thing that pops into your mind is let's get the project done. Okay, drivers, they love winning. This is where I float into driver a lot. They are very competitive people. They love winning. Now, they don't necessarily want you to lose. That's not their goal at all. Their goal is just to win. They're very results-oriented, and they're very goal-oriented, and they love challenge, and they love money, and they're very quick to make a decision. If you are trying to sell to a driver, do not give them tons of details. Give them bottom line. Hire me. I'll give you the tools to create a six-figure income. Flat out, that's all a driver needs to know. Here's the cost. Here's how many times you'll talk to me. And here's the results. And that's enough information for a driver to make a decision, because they don't have time to show up and dig through lots of info. That's why they hire analyticals to dig through their info. Drivers are generally impeccably dressed. They're really like power people. And it's interesting because they don't always wear the power suits, although you'll see that a lot in a driver. I think Hillary Clinton is probably a driver. I can't imagine her not being. So they show up impeccably dressed. Everything matches. It's not me at all. And their motto is just do it. So sometimes they can come across, this is their downfall, they look picky, they look like they're uncaring. That's not them at all. They're just, it doesn't occur to them to think about people's feelings. They're just concerned with the job and how the job looks. Okay, now finally the promoters. Wendy, you and me. Yay! Wendy and I are promoters. We are visionary, big picture thinkers. And because we think in big pictures, sometimes we miss little details. Promoters generally have lots of energy. And you guys, if you've been watching the screen, you'll see that Lynn and Rachel have been kind of still and quiet, and they pipe in. And Linda is sitting back on the screen, where Wendy and I are up forward and really out there with our personalities. We're very much stars, although that doesn't mean we don't want other people to be stars too, because we want everybody to be a star. We are the people at the party who are on the table dancing. You ever done that, Wendy?
I have not done that.
But we need to go to a party together.
I've done that privately with close friends, but
there you go.
But not in a big group.
Okay, we need to go to a big party. Although it's been years since I've done it. Yes,
but I'm the first. Oops, sorry, Julie. I'm the first one to start dancing.
Yes, because she's all about the party. If you are selling to a promoter, you want to tell them how much fun you're going to have. Flat out, that's the sales pitch for promoters. Now, they also care about the other stuff. They care about the bottom line. They care about getting, you know, what they want done. But if it's not fun for a promoter, oh my gosh, it's going to be like pulling teeth for them, and you won't get them motivated. You've got to talk to them about the big picture. Do not give them lots of details. Promoters do not want to know the details. They move quickly from idea to idea. So you can give them lots of big ideas, but you can't give them the details about each one. That's what our analyticals and supporters are for. Okay? Promoters really don't like rules. So if you're in front of a room with a bunch of people, maybe you don't want to call it rules. I always call it the guidelines for working together today. Because if you say rule to a promoter, you shut them out immediately. Promoters love to be complimented. You look really pretty today, Wendy.
Why, thank you, Julie. So do you.
Thank you. I love that. And they really like to be recognized for their achievements. So where drivers like that recognition in terms of money and winning, promoters like that too, but we'll also take compliments. So be sure and give us compliments. And we do, Linda, we love you. Are you still feeling loved? We have to keep in mind our supporters out
Still
there.
feeling love.
Okay, good.
Yes.
I always say that promoters, our bumper sticker is for a good time, call, because we will make sure that you have a good time. In a group, we help to create that big picture. We help with the brainstorming ideas, so we're really good there.
Mm-hmm.
So are you all getting a good idea where you fit and who you're like and which category you fit in? Experts nod.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah,
none of us want to be put into one category because we do toggle, you know, like you said, the line gets blurred and we go into different personality, behavioral styles, depending on the situation.
And here's the thing, if you've got your squares, oh, you guys can't see that anyway. So if you've got your squares, you're going to have your primary where you default. And then you're going to have the two on either side that you float into really easily. And then within each of those squares is another box with other squares. So you might be a promoter driver or a promoter supporter. Where we really run into problems is on the opposite side. So I'm a promoter. My business manager is an analytical. Her strengths are my weaknesses. My weaknesses are her. Her strengths are my weaknesses, and the other way around. And those are the people you have to work really hard at connecting to. So for me to connect with Lynn, I need to really stretch outside my box where I'm normally comfortable, and I need to give Lynn details. And I need to give Rachel details for us to be able to work together.
Mm-hmm.
Ariana floats more into the supporter, although she floats really easily back and forth. So I know
And also,
that
I have to say, given my performing careers that I've had and my love of being on stage, that there has to be some promoter in there too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're going to float. You're going to float. I think Ariana kind of floats really well too, between all of them. But you're going to have a primary where you're most comfortable and where when you're under pressure, you always go back to that primary. So when someone's trying to make a decision about buying, that's kind of a pressure situation for most people, and they're going to go back to their primary. You know, when I'm hiring people, I go back to my primary. Gosh, thank goodness you looked like a fun person, Rachel. And then I found out you could handle details, and it was even better.
Yeah.
So you're always gonna go to your primary when you're under pressure, and you have to understand that when you're working with clients or when you're selling to people, they're gonna go to their primary, and your job is to stretch yourself. You can't ask them to stretch into your mode.
Mm-hmm.
I said to Linda, "Hey, Linda, come over here and be a promoter with me." She would get a little uncomfortable with that. So I have to say to Linda, how can I stretch into your box so that you're comfortable while we talk about what I can do for you? When I'm helping my clients create strategies, I have to look at what's their primary, because if you're learning something new in your business, I have to look at what's your primary. For Wendy, we're going to talk about big picture stuff.
Mm-hmm.
For Ariana, we're going to go to that primary, and we're going to start with the emotions and the feelings. You know, for Rachel and with Lynn, I'd start with details, and then from the details we'd build it into the bigger picture. But they build forwards. Promoters build backwards. We see big picture, and then we build details.
Mm-hmm.
They see details, and then they look at where those details go. And so we just build differently. And when you're working with someone or selling to someone, you have to know where they're at. Okay, tips for how to know. 2 really big things. Drivers and promoters are big picture people. We are seen as assertive people in the world. We lean forward when we talk. Do you guys notice that? How much
Hello.
Wendy and I are like, hello. Talk with our hands a lot, and you've probably noticed. You know, my hands are like, I don't know how much of that you saw, but the whole time I was talking, my hands are going, right? That's either a driver or a promoter who's talking with their hands. Now the analyticals and the supporters, they're going to sit back more in their seats. They're not going to use their hands. They're not going to be up here. Their hands are going to be down in their laps if they use them. Their hands are going to be lower. They sit back. Their voices are quieter. Okay, so you have to listen more to them. My voice can boom when I get really excited. Their voices get quiet when they're excited. And unless you're a performer like Ariana, who's been trained to use her voice for so many years, her voice is just always comes out. Okay, so that's the first thing you want to notice about people is, are they leaning forward and using their hands? Are they sitting back and more reserved in how they're talking? When I met Lynn, I met her in an event not too long ago, and she was really the quiet one in the room. Not to say that she didn't have valuable input, because she really did, and we got to work together in some small groups, but her input was always kind of at the end, and here, let me encapsulate everything, and here's the details I want you guys to add, and we stopped to listen to her. So supporters, analyticals, you kind of have this advantage of, because you're quieter when you do speak, people listen. Okay, but you're going to lean back. I'm leaning forward to listen to you. You're going to lean back. The other difference is to notice, are they talking, and this is the really fascinating one, are they talking about things and ideas and places, or are they talking about people? So when I introduced myself, and I told you my mission was to empower women to build passion-driven, money-making, totally awesome, kick-ass businesses, 10,000 women in the next 10 years, I also told you something about my life, and that was that yesterday when Rachel and I were setting this up, I had an 8-week-old strapped to me and a 2-year-old on my lap, and the 2-year-old kept saying, watch Pooh, watch Pooh. She didn't want to watch Rachel. Okay. She didn't like you, Rachel. You weren't like singing.
I'm sorry.
So, Rachel, on the other hand, would probably tell you that I was having a problem using the Hangout toolbar, and I needed to do this little fix and you know, the detail stuff. But I talked about the people who were there. She's going to talk about the details. And you can listen. I had a boss once who had done some big projects when I worked in PR. And when he would talk about the projects, he didn't talk about the people. He would talk about the way the event ran. He would talk about, you know, the statues they put up, or the buildings that they were next to. So the drivers and the analyticals, they're going to talk about things, data, ideas. Promoters and supporters are talking about people, emotions. Promoters also do a lot about ideas, but it's ideas in the context of the people involved. So if you can catch those two things, are they leaning forward loud and talking with their hands, sitting back and quiet? Are they talking about Thank you, Wendy.
I just want to see what that felt like for me to do that. Like, does that feel weird? It does. It doesn't feel comfortable for me to do that. So it's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. All you guys on the other side, lean forward into your camera and say hi.
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 I'm actually not sitting back. If I sit back, here's where I go. This is me sitting back. I've been sitting forward the whole time.
And Wendy, you're tiny.
I'm making an effort to sit forward.
Yeah. So when you're in conversations, that's how you know. And if you're on the phone doing a sale, you can kind of hear that in their voice, the tone of their voice, the level of their voice. Okay. what kind of questions do you guys have? Any questions from the experts? We've got like just a couple of minutes.
I have one. If
Yes,
we fill
ma'am.
out that little chart you had us draw, where do all the people go? Or the different
Okay.
types?
So if you are a plus plus, so that means you are more responsive. Do you guys notice how the detail person caught the detail I missed?
It's been driving me nuts.
Okay. If you are more assertive and you are more responsive, you are a promoter. Promoters are assertive and we are emotional. We are out there. Okay. If you are more assertive and you are less emotional, you are a driver, because drivers are out there, but they're not thinking about emotions, they're thinking about the job. If you are less assertive and less emotional, you are an analytical. And if you are less assertive and more emotional, you are a supporter. Okay? And
less emotional and more assertive is supporter.
more emotional, less assertive is supporter.
Okay,
more
thanks.
emotional, less assertive, supporter. Okay. And I promised at the very beginning that I would send tip sheets with all of this on it. And everyone who's on the call, you'll be getting an email from me with a link to get those tip sheets. And there's an offer for a free gift on that email. So you want to check that out. And we'll get these tip sheets out to you with everything about promoters, drivers, analyticals, and supporters so that you can start checking in. Now I have a homework for everybody, because of course I never leave without giving homework. And so panel, you think about this too. Think about your position and then think about somebody in your life who's completely opposite, in the opposite quadrant. And as you think about what you've heard and what you've learned on this Hangout today, choose one way that you can change your interaction with that person who's completely opposite of you and commit to that action within the next 2 or 3 days, because you might not see them right away, but do it within 2 days. Everybody cool with that?
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
Good.
Okay, good.
Yes.
And then I'm going to ask you
Yeah.
and everybody who watches the Hangout, check in on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com. I don't know if it's a / or a backward slash, but I'm sure the / Thank you. / Kick-Ass Biz Coaching. All one word. KICKASSBIZCOACHING. Coaching. Check in and let me know what happened. So, questions, you can check in on Facebook, ask me questions. I'm happy to help anybody put this stuff to use. I think it's super, super valuable. My wish for you, for all of my experts, for everybody out there watching this, is that you have an absolutely fabulous day, that you go out and create the business that you are dreaming of. Your time is now. 2013, almost over 2014. We are going to have a fabulous year, and I wish you all the best. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
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 There it is.
Bye. Thank you.